Okay, we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. All right, welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the stream. I can see we have one person here. If you're live here, welcome. I would like to see those who are with us. Welcome to the reset session. Today, we're going to kick it off real quick. Last time out, that was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, we had the first part of the reset session. And for that session, we dwelt on gratitude for everything that's happened all through this year. And we said gratitude was or is a solid foundation. It is always a clear lens from where we can begin our journey, from where we can look toward the future. Um, Today, we're going to go hands on. Today, we're going to go hands on. And before we start, I just want to give a little more time for others to join us. So if you're here with us on this stream, please just go to the comments and say hello to us. Tell us your name, where you're coming in from, where you're joining us from, on the comment section. Just tell us your name, where you're signing in from. We're about to kick it off. I have quite a lot to share today. There's quite a lot to share today. I'm holding myself from starting because I feel like once we start, everything we're going to say is going to be very, very critical. Um, there's some things I want to share in line with what we had last week before we start today's hands-on session, but I don't want anyone to miss it. But since this is a live stream, I guess we'll just start up quickly with this. I can see we have 3 persons here with us. Can you just let us know your name and where you're joining us from? I see we have 3 persons live here with us. Okay, just go to the comments, tell us your name, where you're signing in from. Last week we had, yes, I can see Grandma is here with us, joining from Dundee. Grandma, good to have you in the stream. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. There are 2 other persons with us. I can't see their comments yet. So we're going to kick it off quickly because again today we're going to try as much as we can to stick with 1 hour. But chances are that we may overshoot 1 hour, maybe by 10 or 15 minutes. And I can guarantee you it won't be enough to exhaustively, go into the worksheets we've created. I'm trusting that you've been able to download your worksheet from the Telegram group, from the Telegram channel. You would see that's a 25-page document. And here's the truth. We had to abridge the worksheets. As we start as we go on into this session, I'll explain to us what we mean. While developing this, it became apparent that we're going to have to create a very comprehensive worksheet for this, which perhaps will become a resource we would host on the website that we can have access to that. But for the sake of ensuring that we kicked it off this week, we had to do this version of the worksheet, which is still very rich. It's a 25-page document. I mean, we are considering. Not we are considering. Eventually, this is probably going to become a paid resource. The worksheets and the workshops that will come with it going forward eventually probably will become a paid resource on the website. So for those of us who are joining today, who are joining this session, we are of course having free access to it. Now, building up on last week we talked about gratitude, and we had the chance to share the things we are grateful for. Hello, Tibe. Good to have you. Good to have you. Thank you so much. Tuning in from Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Yeah, so last week we shared the things we were grateful for. Mr. Chibo is here with us. Thank you, Mr. Chibo. Last week we shared the things we were grateful for. We shared the experiences, opportunities, privileges, friendships, blessings, family, friends, and all the things that we are grateful for. And we said sharing our gratitude gives us a perspective that helps us realize that truly our life is blessed. Truly our lives are blessed. And regardless of the things we couldn't meet up with this year, regardless of the things that we fell short of this year, there's a lot to be grateful for. There's life, there's health, and there's a lot of things. There's friends and family help from strangers, incidental moments. Just before I got into this stream, I had a conversation earlier today with someone, just a quick conversation. The person was talking about how he said he made a post. He said, "What if the things we call coincidences are God's way of anonymously sneaking in miracles? What's the difference really between miracles and coincidence?" And while we exchanged, I said something to him which I've always believed. I told him, when we talk about coincidences, we should remember that there is no coincidence with God. Nothing takes God by surprise. Coincidence is the province of men. It's we mortals that have coincidences. There's nothing that takes God by surprise. So yes, the things we call coincidences are like the holy book for the Christians say. It says lines are falling onto us in pleasant places. Those lines are falling. It's like things, how things chaotically. Have you ever seen any of these videos where they say things that if they weren't caught on camera, you wouldn't believe they happened? You see something that looks like a certain disaster, and somehow by coincidence, this person catches this baby, or somehow by coincidence, this is averted. So that's the context. When I look at that place that says lines are falling onto us in pleasant places, that is the context of it. Those are the miracles God sneaks into our lives via coincidences. It's the fact that sometimes the chaos and those uncertain moments, you incidentally run into this person you didn't plan to run into. You incidentally come across this resource that gives you the answer to what you're looking for, and all of that. And those are them in themselves blessings and miracles from God to us, or from whatever you believe in to us. So we are saying that there is a lot to be thankful for. Things that are in our control, things that are out of our control. There's a lot that have been a blessing to us this year. Chamaka, good to have you with us today. It's been a long time, Chamaka. Good to have you. Ground my toast for you this time. All right. So building on last week's session on gratitude, I just want to share something quickly with us before we get into the hands-on session. And what I want to share with us is something I learned from a friend recently, a new friend recently. Um, he said one of the ways for us to truly explore gratitude, especially when it looks or feels like we are not where we think we should be, is to explore our lives and gratitude from three lenses: information, opportunities, and resources. He said sometimes when we unfairly compare ourselves with other people who we think we should be where they are, or who we think we should have what they have, we forget that the informations we're exposed to, even with our best efforts, the resources that were available to us, even with our best efforts, and the opportunities available to us, even with our best intentions, that those are different. They differ from these other people. Coach Phil, good to have you. Thank you for joining us. You joined me
Good
wearing
evening,
glasses
sir.
today. All right. So
Can you hear
remember
me?
these things: information, opportunity, resources. And if you explore gratitude on the grounds of these three things, it will help you appreciate more. A quick example for that is I was reading an article sometime this past week where the person was talking about, no, it wasn't an article, it was a video I was watching, Tutembo. He was saying something about growth mindset. He said he sat down to think about growth mindset and he realized that environments, of course, which affect opportunities and resources, play a very huge part in the effect of our growth mindset. He said, no matter the resilience and the strength of my growth mindset, it will still be limited by my environment, whether I want to acknowledge that or not. So an example he gave is he said he traveled to the US and for, of course, business interactions, and he met with some friends there and all of that. Now he said these are people who some of them he had trained or mentored at some level. These are people who look up to him, people who he has learned, who he has taught. He knows his onions. He knows his when it comes to inherent capacity and training and growth, he can stand his ground much more than a lot of these guys. And that was not an insult to these people. But he said he realized that when he got there, he realized that these guys were on a financial scale very comfortably way ahead of him financially. And this guy, Vincent Nabakwaya, is currently the highest paid public speaker in Africa. He's a public speaker that gets paid the highest fee in the whole of Africa. And he said, even with all of that, some of these guys were easily making much more than him, not because they were better than him, but because of the environments they were born into, the environment, the systems they have for the things that they do mean that they get to make more than him. And so he said, regardless of the growth mindsets he has, the limitation of Africa and the economic dynamics of Africa would always be a limitation to him. And so he was acknowledging the limits of his opportunities and resources because of where he is. And so if we look at our lives also from the scope of gratitude, we begin to appreciate the fact that with our best efforts, there are people who we could look at and say, oh, I should be where this person is. I should be better than this person. Appreciate the fact that with the resources available to you, with the opportunities available to you, and with the information available to you, you've given your best efforts. And where you are is okay. Where you are is where you're supposed to be. Whether you appreciate that or not, whether you agree to that or not, where you are right now is where you're supposed to be to get to where you're going. If we begin to look at life that way, to help us to better appreciate the moment and on the grounds of this gratitude, propel ourselves to what lies ahead. So once again, everyone, welcome. That's me laying some foundations and giving some preambles. Coach Phil is seriously looking at his screen like he's trying to mark some scripts. All right, everyone, once again, welcome. I can see we have 6 people on the stream, but that's wonderful. If you're just joining us, please, you can go to the chat section and introduce yourself. Tell us your name and where you're signing in from. Already we have Graham Malanye signing in from Dundee. We have Uti Bedilai David signing in from Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. We have Mr. Jobo Tamina Diaperi signing in from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Mr. Jobo is one of our consultants, one of our chief consultants. Good to have you here with us, sir. We have Chiamaka Tiele signing in from Dundee also, and we have Coach Phil connecting from Benin City, Nigeria. Coach Phil is also one of our consultants, and it's good to have you in the stream with us today. So, without taking any further time, I want to share. I want to share my screen and pull up this resource. Coach Phil, can you see the resource I'm sharing? Just to be sure, let me know if you can see it.
Yes.
So that will right
Yes.
into. Can you see it?
I can see it. I can see it very well.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. So I want to believe that every one of us, we have this resource already. We shared this on the Telegram community. For those who will be watching this after this live stream, would add the link to the Telegram community on the caption so that you can go join the Telegram community and download the worksheet for yourself and use it to work at your own time. So we share this on the Telegram community, and that's what we're going to be using to do our research session today. I'm excited about this. And for those of us who are just joining now, I said earlier that because we had to abridge this manual actually, and there's a lot to unpack here. We have 25 pages of this manual, of course, broken down into sections, and it's a very beautiful manual. It's a very handy tool and resource to help you, refocus for next year. So even though last week we had a gratitude session, we are still going to just quickly breeze through some questions here just to remind you, and you could use that on your own manual. You could print out this worksheet for yourself if that serves you better. You could print it out and actually do this on the paper after the session. And you'll find as we go through, there are sessions that may require you beyond the time frame of this workshop to take some time to think about them. So what we're going to do today is to go through the manual, the worksheet. As we go through the ones that you can feel during the session here, you feel them. The ones you can't, after the session, you can take some time. And I encourage you to do that. I mean, if it will take you a whole day to plan effectively for a whole year, I think that's a good deal. I think that's a great deal. And so you should do that, right? And also, there are some sections that may not apply to you right now, depending on the peculiarity of what your life is right now, what you're doing. For example, for some persons, the love relationship aspect, some of the questions may not apply to you, and that's okay. And I'm looking at Coach Phil right now. For some persons, the parenting segment may not apply to you. But of course, also for those of us who have proteges and mentees under us, you could also apply that, the parenting section, to your mentees and proteges. And so as we go through the different segments and sections, you can work on the ones you can work on. Now, you can also have a book by your side. If you still have just the soft copy of this, you can have a book by your side as we go through the section to take down the points you need to take down, so that whenever you print out this, if you plan to print it out, you can then transfer them there and have a more exhaustive session of this. All right. So last week we started with gratitude, and today we are going to also touch on gratitude. And there's a very short quote here which said, gratitude is always a clear lens from where we draw the courage to face life. Yes, it's always a clear lens from where we draw the courage to face life. On the question of gratitude, and again, of course, based on the peculiarities of your experience or where you are, you can on your own also expand the worksheet for yourself. You could have some more questions you want to add to your own worksheet or to your exercise. So you could use those, you could add those by yourself, right? I mean, this is not exhaustive, but this is pretty much a very standard and wonderful manual for this. So the first question on the gratitude section here says, what are you most grateful for in 2022? What are you most grateful for in 2022? Here It could be a person, it could be an experience, it could be an opportunity, it could be a new job, it could be a new house, it could be a project you completed. There are no limits to what you can write here, but and it could be one thing, it could be two things, it could be three things. But as much as possible, keep it a maximum of three. While there are lots of things we can be grateful for, there are hundreds of things we could write down for gratitude. um, we want you to think through and think about them as like the highlights of your year. Why this is important is because it tells you or informs your mind that there were truly amazing moments in your year. And that's why you don't want to make it so many so that it doesn't begin to look like um, an ordinary thing. It doesn't begin to look like, oh, well, it's just like every other thing. Maybe that job you'd been looking out for the past 2 3 years, you got it this year. Maybe that plan or business or vision you've been procrastinating on for months and years, you finally got it off the ground this year. It could be the highlight for you. Maybe that person you've been in love with, you finally married her this year, or him. So whatever the highlights are for you, you put them in this section. Then the next question there is, who are you grateful for meeting this year? Were there new friends you made? Were there new connections you made? Were there new coaches or mentors you connected with? Were there new colleagues you started working with that you're glad they came into your space? It could be any, even if it is influencers, it could be influencers that you got to know, find out about this year, and you started following their contents, right? And learning from them. Recently, within the past 3 weeks, on YouTube, I came across a communication expert. What's his name? Ving Yang. And I've been consuming his content a lot this past 2 weeks, and I'm grateful that I came across him, and I subscribed to his channel and started learning some things. And so I could write that here. It doesn't have to be someone I've met physically. Anyone who has come into your space, who has become an influence over you, and you're grateful for meeting them this year, you want to put that down in this section. And then, what are the opportunities you're grateful for having this year? You write those down here. Again, it could be opportunities for volunteering, opportunities for travel, opportunities for networking, could be opportunities to serve in a workplace, in your place of worship, whatever opportunities that comes to your mind as something you're grateful that you had the chance to experience this year. You want to put that down in this section. And then we'll have, which skills are you grateful for learning this year? Which skills are you grateful for learning this year? Could be social skills, could be soft skills, it could be tech skills, it could be culinary skills, it could be baking, it could be making bole, frying dodo, cooking a new cuisine or recipe, a new recipe you came across and you learned it. Anything it is, it could be a new language you learned, it could be riding a bike or learning how to fly a plane or learning how to drive. Whatever skills that you've learned this year that you're grateful for, you want to write them out here. And as we go down the worksheet, we begin to see that you will begin to see why we are touching on all of these as a way of gratitude, because you're going to set goals this year for different aspects of your life. And you want to be grateful for the things you're able to achieve this past year. Sometimes when we think about gratitude, we just think about gratitude concerning things like job, marriage, finances, and all of that. But there's a lot to be grateful for in different areas, the skills you're able to learn, people you're able to meet, opportunities you're able to have, and all of that. All these culminates into all of the experiences that made your year, and you want to be grateful for those things. And then we have, what new project are you grateful for starting this year? Now, this is regardless of the level of progress you've made. Maybe it's a new business you wanted to start and you just registered it. Maybe that's all the progress you made after a long time of thinking. If you registered it, and maybe just one product that you have, or maybe you are still formulating the products. It could be anything, but you want to be grateful for all of these. What are you grateful for regarding your health? What things happened to you that you had not planned for or foreseen, but you are grateful that they did? Again, those things outside of your control, those coincidences, those unplanned moments, those people you ran into, you didn't know, and that started a great friendship. Those opportunities you hopped into, um, and they were never part of your goals. Nothing like that came to your mind, but as the year progressed, you got the opportunity to, get involved in this project, and you're glad, you're grateful that you got involved because it was not in your plan, but you see the benefit it has for you. You want to write those things down here, and then what new experiences are you grateful for this past year? Did you travel? Did you go on a picnic? Did you have an adventure? Did you go on a road trip? Did you and your friends hang out? Did you do a cookout? What are the new experiences? It could be something you've never done before. It could be something you've never done before. I visited somewhere in recent times, and I'm so glad I went there. It was like an excursion for me, and I'm so glad I went there. Now, I had never planned that at the beginning of the year. I never knew I was going to have that experience, but I did, and I took pictures of it, and I'm glad I had those experiences. You know, those were in this section for me. What new experiences are you grateful for this past year? Now, before we get into this, the main thing for today, I just want to go back to come back to the stream and be sure that we are still here following with us. Okay, I have Coach Field still here with me. I have Mr. Juba still here with me. Believe, good to have you. Believe from Benin City, and we have Akim Adeyinka from Mina, Niger State. Okay, so before we go into the next section, because I feel like I've been speaking with myself. So just a bit of feedback from us. Coach Fee, you're my feedback person here now. So just let me know, how has it been for you so far? Has it? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, beautiful. How's the pace? Am I too fast? I mean, we have like 32
No,
minutes. Okay.
I've it's been okay. Okay, maybe if we are going to be feeling the manner, you might be too fast, or maybe I just feel like you
Okay.
ran through the practice section. I was trying to fill my own. If I can share my screen, I'm working on my own
Oh,
manual
okay.
as we are talking.
Yeah, I think you can
So
share your screen. That's
can I
beautiful.
do that?
Yes, you can. I think you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay, that's
see.
beautiful. Um, I just want to hear from everyone else. I hope I'm
Can you see
trusting that we
this?
all have our worksheets. Okay. Are you sharing your screen? Yeah.
Yes. Can you see it?
Yes, I can now.
So I was trying to work on it. Should I keep it shared or I should move on?
Okay, if you're comfortable with keeping it shared, we can then use yours as we go through it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can use
Okay.
it as we go through it. Okay, so that's beautiful. Um, okay, you were trying to feel what projects are you. So just
Yeah.
before we proceed again, before we continue, just to let everyone else know, these hangout sessions are usually 1 hour sessions, but we said for today's session we might exceed by 10 or 15 minutes. So that means instead of the 8 p.m. for those in Nigeria or 3 p.m. for those in the US, it will be 8:15 that will be ending for those in Nigeria. So that means we'll have 45 more minutes before the end of this session. And so that's why, even though we're going to be working with Coach Phil's sheets, would also be a bit fast. When I mean will be a bit fast, it's that if we are going to wait for everybody to feel everything here, we probably will spend 4 hours in this session. Like I said, some of the questions are going to require you to really deeply think, right? And take some time to process. So we may not be able to do that. What we can do, if it's okay with us, is if by the end of today's session we are not able to go through all of them, or if it's too fast and we feel like we want to spend a little more time um to still work on this, then we can do a 3.0 for the research session meeting, if that's okay with us. So I would like to get our feedback and response on the chat to know if that's one okay with us. But otherwise, we'll just fire on with this. Mr. Chupa said yes, please. Yes, please to what? Is it us having another session of this, or yes, please, that we are fast or we are slow? What exactly, sir? All right. So, ah, okay. So, Coach Phil, let's go down to where we have what do you want your 2023 to, what do you want from 2023? Okay.
Okay.
Can you read out the preamble there for us before we proceed, since we're using your sheet now?
Can you say it?
Oh, yes, I can. All right, so let me read that out. It says everything we seek to achieve and attain stem from our idea of where we should be or who we seek to become. For a lot of people, this idea may be motivated by the expectations of others, leading to a life of dissatisfaction and very little fulfillment. For a few, it stems from a deep place of identity and self awareness. So, what we are going to do in starting this our goals is we are going to first seek to reaffirm our identity and before we go into achievement. So, the first activities we're going to do now are going to hinge on identity and awareness. Identity and values and awareness. So, the first is, who do you want to be? I think it was Simon Sinek in one of his teachings where he said, um, I think it was Simon Sinek. It's one of the downsides of to-do list. Okay, I don't think it was Simon Sinek. I think it was can't remember now, but I don't think it was Simon Sinek. He said one of the reasons why he doesn't use a to-do list in planning long-term goals is because to-do only focuses on what to do, activities and achievements. It says for every time he wants to do a long-term planning, he uses a to-be list. Who do I want to be as a father? Who do I want to be as a brother? Who do I want to be as a sister? Who do I want to be as a son? Who do I want to be as a friend? Who do I want to be as a boss, as a colleague, as a business owner? Who do I want to be as an influencer? Who do I want to be as a role model? The values I want to show for, the values I want to guide my actions. And he said he focuses more on those values and then lets them guide his actions and plans and decisions. So it is not saying that to-do lists are absolutely unnecessary or inefficient. It's saying that if you want it to be more effective in building a life vision, you want to anchor it on being, on values. And so that's why we're starting this worksheet with asking, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be in 2023? Because we're going to look at this worksheet goes into the different life domains: your physical health, spirituality, relationships, love relationships, career, finances, and all of them, social network. And you want to define yourself on a place of value. I think where from echoes, you want to define
Can
yourself
you still
from
hear
first
it?
of value. No, I can't hear it anymore. Thank you. You want to define yourself first from the place of values. Who do I want to be? Who do I want my child to know me, to see me as, or to know me as? Who do I want my spouse to know me as? Who do I want my friends to know me as? If someone was to call up Philip, my colleague, and ask him to tell them about Chinese, what are the things I want Philip to anyone who works with me to be able to easily know about me from the experience of me. Do I want them to know me as a liar, as a dishonest person, as an inconsiderate person, as a lazy, ineffective person, or do I want them to know me as a person of integrity, a person who keeps to his word, a person whose work ethic is healthy? You know, those values by which you want to be defined, if you can clarify them for yourself at this early stage, they will guide then the actions, the plans, and the goals you want to create. So that by the time we begin to go into love relationships, parenting, career, and all of that, there are goals you want to pursue. There are things you want to do and achieve. If they are not congruent with the values that you hold so dear, that you hold very important, the chances are that you will not achieve those goals. But if your goals are in alignment with your values are give momentum, they give flight to your goals, because it's in alignment with who you want to be. It's in alignment with the your wholeness, your whole self, right? It's not at war with. You won't say, I can't say I want to be, for example, I can't say I want to be a person of integrity, an honest person, and my goal in finances and thinking about income streams would be to enter internet fraud, as a way of making money. While it will help me make the money, it's not in congruence with the values that I hold there, So that's what you want to think about here. Who do you want to be? Again, like I said, I know that this a lot of the questions you may not be able to answer all of them here today. A lot of them require deep reflection. Today's session is to guide us through the worksheets. Outside of the session, you can take some time to answer some of the questions that require more time. Now, the second part of this section is affirmations. And we say think of any affirmations or quotes that inspire you to be the best version of yourself or become better each time. Write them down in the spaces below. Choose only the top three. Now, make sure these are affirmations or quotes that deeply inspire you and have deep meaning to you, not just any random quotes. Now, okay, I've seen what Coach Phil is writing. That's amazing. All right, now for the affirmations, the last statement is very important. Make sure these are affirmations or quotes that deeply inspire you, that means something to you. Make sure the affirmations that mean something to you. For me, one of the affirmations I put here is the quote by Anne Mariam Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. We ask ourselves, who am I to be gorgeous, brilliant, talented? Actually, who are you not to be? We are created in the image of God, and you're playing small selves, no person. You know, that quote as a whole, from time to time, I revisit it and I read it sentence by sentence, sentence by sentence. It reminds me that I'm meant to shine as light, and as I shine my light, I give permission to others around me to shine. That's a very meaningful affirmation from your quote for me. And you can put that there, So it doesn't, don't just go and look for any random quotes that mean nothing to you. Now it could be scriptures also. It could be scriptures also. For me, one of the scriptures I put in my affirmations was Songs of Solomon, chapter 8, 6, and 7. I know a lot of us know that book for romantic this thing, but I'm looking at it few. But one time I had a retreat and studied Songs of Solomon. I found out that that book is it also communicates like a love letter between God and man. And that's Songs of Solomon 8:67 says, "Set me as a seal upon your heart, as a seal upon your mind. For love is stronger than death, and deep love is stronger than the grave." He said, "Many waters cannot quench it. The floods cannot overtake it." I said, "Even if a man were to pay all that he had for my love for you, it will be utterly scorned." In other words, there is no amount of bribe, no amount of wealth in this world that will make God rescind his love for me. He said his love for me is stronger than the grave. So I hold that very dearly, very deeply, because it reminds me of my self worth. That's how valuable I am, regardless of what life is bringing to me, regardless of the challenges I'm having, regardless of the limitations I'm having, regardless of the failures I'm experiencing. I remind myself God loves me so much that the entire wealth of this whole world will not be enough to make him to stop loving me. It means something to me, and I put that for myself. So that's what I'm saying. Make sure that the quotes, whatever affirmations you put here, are things that mean something to you. It doesn't have to be a Bible scripture, but let it be something that speaks to your wholeness, something that speaks to, that inspires you, something that inspires you to be the best version of yourself or to reach out for the best version of yourself. Are we getting value for this so far? I'm seeing that we have 11 persons on the stream. Let me see those who have joined us. Okay, John Hope is connecting with us from Port Harcourt. Good to have you. Good to have you. Okay, Mr. Juba said the pace is good. Thank you, everyone. So, are we getting value? Before we proceed, are we getting value? Please go to the chat section and let me know. Are you getting value? I know some of us may be itching to get into the goal, setting goal for finances and this and that. We're getting there. But I hope you're getting value from this. First, defining your value and affirming your wholeness, your worth, you know, and building on that foundation. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, John. Hope John says, yes, please. He's getting value. Who else is in the stream with us? Are you getting value? Adeyinka, are you still with us? Mr. Believe, are you still with us here? Are we getting value? And I like the things I'm seeing. Coach Phil type here. Amazing. His Coach Phil is sharing his screen with us so that we could also see how we can fill our own sheets. And for those joining us now, if you don't have your worksheets, um, it's on our Telegram channel. Like I said, at the end of this stream, we would append the link to that on the caption of this video so that people can access the worksheets and use it for themselves. All right, so we'll move from this section now. Coach Phil, I'll wait for you for 30
Yes.
seconds. See, I'm slowing your groove now. As I'm having to move, I'm slowing your groove. You signed up
Okay.
for it. You signed up for it. Okay,
Explain
so
your key life domain, right?
yes, explain your key life domains. Let's go. Let's just scroll up, keep scrolling. Let's go to the first one. I think the first one is physical health and fitness. And the first question there is, what goals do you have for your physical health this year? Um, Another way I want to rephrase this first question would be, what would your ideal physical health and fitness condition be? If when you imagine yourself in your best possible physical health and shape, what does it look like? Do you want to have six packs? Do you want to drop your weights? Maybe you're weighing 110 kg and you want to drop to 85 kg. Um, do you want to be more ripped? Do you want to be slimmer? Um, do you have any health conditions or challenges that you want to make sure that you get rid of? Do you want to go diet and all of that? Just imagine your optimal best physical health and fitness condition and ask yourself, what's the ideal, right? And then if you think about that, then what are the goals you can set or you can set to help you get there? So I think the first thing, okay, in subsequent sections, we asked that question. I think we forgot to do that here. We should have asked first, what does your ideal physical health and fitness condition look like? So Coach Phil is showing us for his own. What goals do you want for your physical health this year? No soda and processed sugar. Okay. Zero or no malaria. Beautiful. Because we don't, Coach Phil, you don't want to have six packs.
Oh, I didn't think about to go gym. I'm not gonna. I don't know that I'll get the decision to go gym.
You don't want to have six packs. You don't want anything that will make
I
you
want to
come
have
down on people.
I want to have bicep and six pack, but my brother, I was thinking about the discipline that will take me to go to the gym. Man. No, I haven't got it right now.
Well, again, now that we've talked about this, and that this is one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the stream so that we could have these lighthearted moments. We should also remember that in setting our goals, um, while you have the vision you create, the goal is to find little steps, right? Tiny habits. So, for example, you want to have six pack. You don't have to have six packs in 3 months or 6 months if it's going to be unattainable for you or if it's going to be an unrealistic goal. But you can have it at the end of the year. That's 12 months. And that will mean that you could start by doing 10, 15 push-ups every day, 10, 15 push-ups in
Yeah,
the
we
morning.
get those action steps. Is there a place where we can document them?
Oh, yeah. I think if we go down, what resources would you need to accomplish these goals? Resources would cover, again, it will cover the plans you have for these trainings or programs, or in the case of physical health now, do you need to register to a gym? Do you need the physical health, a coach, a gym coach or body? Think about all of those things. And that's where you document them. So somewhere between your goals, here is where you list the goals. How to get to the goals, you can ask yourself what resources. And again, just as we go down, we'll see Almost for each of the sections, we ask you what resources you need to achieve the goal. We ask you if there is any role model, mentor, or coach or trainer, whatever, depending on this goal, that you need to help you facilitate the process. And we'll ask you what communities you can join. We'll ask you what resources, and then we'll ask you what communities you may need to join to access these people. So I'll give us a practical example because we're going to see that in this and subsequent sections. A practical example would be, for example, let's say for me, I want to improve, when we get to emotional health, for example, I want to improve my emotional resilience. I ask myself, what resources do I need? So I need to maybe enroll for a course or a program in emotional intelligence. Maybe there are books I want to read regarding that. Maybe I want to enroll into a coaching or mentoring with someone and all of that. And then you ask yourself, now these are under the resources. And you ask yourself, is there any role model mentors? And the reason why we include that section, the section of whether you have role models, mentors, or coaches you want to connect with to facilitate this is simple. Um, Everything you want to achieve or do or become, there are people who have done it and who have gone ahead. It becomes easier to inspire yourself on an ongoing basis by being in the space of the people who are doing that. So recently I discovered that my old Instagram account, I can't access it. I've tried done a message to Facebook and all of that, no response. So I decided to forget about it and create a new Instagram account. I created a new Instagram account and I deliberately started looking out for those persons that I know that their content and value are the things that inspire me. Those are the only people I followed. I started following the influencers and people I know I want to have their content in my space every time, right? I put that, and the reason for that is simple. I'm more of a YouTube person than an Instagram or Facebook person. So I usually will just open YouTube, go to check for maybe a new content by Simon Sinek or Vusi Tembakwayo or what's his name again, Vin Giang, or some of these people I follow and just watch and inspire myself and all of that. But now I want to get more active on this platform. I also want to make sure that my diet, my mental, psychological, emotional diet is also being sustained and fed by the people who are doing the things I want to do or who inspire me to do the things I want to do. Right. So that means I want to have them more in my space. So I ask myself, where can I find these people? Right. On Instagram, I can follow this person on Instagram. On YouTube, I can follow this person. If the persons are people within your geographical location, are there programs and trainings and resources that they hold or they facilitate on an ongoing basis that you can enroll for so that you have access to them? Do they have communities that you can join? Or are there communities of people doing the things that you want to do that you can belong to? Where are these communities? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Twitter? Are they on Telegram? For those of us who are joining us for the first time, this is a community of people who are intentional about reshaping their outcomes and their lives. So if you want to transform your life and you want to grow and make the most of your life, this is a community you want to be in their space. You want to be connected with, you want to relate with. And on an ongoing basis, we'll have sessions like this. In fact, for 2023, a lot of our sessions are going to be taking the live stream approach because we're going to be having a lot of hands-on sessions with practical resources. So you really want to be here. You really want to be here. Now, I use that as an example. So that answers the question you asked, Coach Phil, right? So why do you want to achieve this goal? Again, for every of the goals we stated here, we ask this question: why do you want to achieve these goals? Again, because your why is very important. If your why is clear enough, it gives you momentum, especially in times when it's difficult, when the going is difficult. If you don't have a strong why, you will struggle with sustaining your goal. One book I read that helped me to understand the power of why is Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. And I recommend that for every one of us. If you've not read the book, you want to read that book. It's a very powerful book. Starts with Why by Simon Sinek. It helps you to understand why, understanding the why for anything you want to do in itself sets a good, solid foundation for pursuing that. And sometimes, in trying to understand the why, you may eventually realize that maybe this goal I'm pursuing is not the goal I should be pursuing. Because if you dig down to the basal level. Why do I want this? Why is this important to me? You may find out that the intention and the purpose for which you're setting this goal could actually achieve that purpose through another means, another approach that is not necessarily what you're doing. Maybe why you're taking this approach, maybe because you're trying to avoid the discomfort of a more effective approach, or maybe why you're taking this approach is because it's more optically appealing to the impressions of people, right? Maybe because this approach would show people that I'm doing something, but perhaps it may not be productive for me. So understanding your why is very important. Why do you want to achieve these goals? We can see what Coach Phil is writing here, for example, no soda and processed sugar. I want to achieve this goal because I noticed the soda and excessive sugar intake is affecting the state of my health and productivity. Most times I wake up feeling weakness in my joints and I feel it might be linked to sugar intake. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So again, as I look at, for example, the number one point in his why, one thing that comes to my mind then is okay, having understood this, you could then ask yourself, as I am stopping soda and processed sugar because I think it affects my waking up day, my stamina and strength and activeness waking up. Or what also should I be pursuing to ensure that I wake up more energized, right? So that I'm not just running away from the thing that is harmful, but I'm also running towards
That
the
that
thing.
that second, do we need to attach that second one to the why we are
No, no, you don't need to
um
attach that now. Now, what I'm saying is, I'm giving you the thinking process now. Now,
okay.
thinking this would also help you as you're looking at your goals. Okay, I want to avoid this, right? Then in putting my
Yeah.
goals, so your number one goal says no soda and processed sugar. You've given the why here, but the
Yeah.
why here can also help you then see the number one says no soda. The no is what you don't want. So, what do you want in place of this? And the reason why this is
Okay.
important is again, like we understand mind mastery, there is no void. The mind does not operate in a void. If you want to, habit formation is literally habit replacement. There's no nature abhors a void, right? So if I want to stop this, let me give you an example. The year, I think that was 2016 or 2017 when I started doing social media first. I started doing that because I realized I was getting addicted to social media at the time. So I said I wanted to cut down on social media. So what did I start doing at the time? I said, okay, I would stop. I realized I was spending in excess of 6, 7 hours every day on social media, right? So I said, okay, I'm going to cut down on this. And so I started, I'll drop my phone when I finish my chores and all of that. I realized that in less than 2 weeks, I was back. When I sat down to ask myself, and I realized, okay, your body has wired and conditioned itself to do this at this and this and these times. Now you say you don't want to do it. What do you want to replace those times you normally would take your phone to go online? When you're going to the toilets, you're with your phone on Facebook, Instagram. When you're lying down and you come back from work or you come back from somewhere, you just lie down. The first thing is carry your phone and all of that. All those things are accumulating to those times. So now that you want to cut down on this, what do you want to replace this with? So I had to sit down and proactively tell myself, okay, how do I want to plan my day? What are the things that I want to do to fill my day with to make it effective? And in those days, even when I wake up in the morning, if I do my devotion, I've picked up my phone. So I said, okay, what are the things you need to do? That was the period I first read Robin Sharma's book, The 5 a.m. Club, a very beautiful book, also I recommend, The 5 a.m. Club. So I started doing some of the things he recommended in the book. Start wake up in the morning, some meditation exercises, But first off, for me, then because I was also trying to grow my spirituality, I said, okay, wake up in the morning, drop your phone. What I did at that time was to set a time on my phone when it would automatically turn off itself and the time when it automatically turn on. And the time for turning on was later in the day. And I told myself, wake up in the morning, don't touch your phone. This is what to do, what to do. Of course, it was a struggle initially, but eventually, over time, I replaced that habit. So you can't, if you're trying to stop a habit and you create a void where that habit used to be, chances are that you go back to the default. So no soda and processed sugar, beautiful. What are you replacing that with? You know. So let's go down. Let's go down. That I spent some time on this so that that could also help guide our thinking in the subsequent ones. Like I said, okay, beautiful. What should I replace this with? Thank you. Thank you, Coach Phil.
I'll
That's
come back
beautiful.
to this later.
Yeah.
After I
So
noted them.
again, like we said, what resources would you need to accomplish these goals? Are there trainings you need to enroll in? Are there books you need to buy? Are there materials you need to study? Is there a coaching you need to enroll in? Is there just think about the resources that we needed for this physical health? Do I need to buy gym material and gym equipment, or should I register in the gym? Or do I have things within my house that I can use to substitute for those things? I remember when I used to use 25-liter jerry cans to substitute for dumbbells. Because I was jobless at the time. I didn't have a job, but I was trying to keep fit, and I couldn't go and register in the gym when I didn't have money to take care of myself. So I was using the jerry cans in the house, in fact, the jerry cans. Wake up in the morning, I'll do push-ups, now carry the jerry cans, be lifting shoulder push. But those are resources. Asking yourself this also helps you to look within your environment. What are the resources within my available means now that I can use to achieve this goal? Right. And then once you fill that section, you ask yourself, which experts or role models do you need to connect with to facilitate these goals? Now, we've explained this earlier. Again, there are mentors, teachers, coaches, trainers, colleagues, bosses. Are there people that you can connect with? Again, it doesn't have to be physical connection. It could be influencers that are doing the things you want to do, who you want to learn from, be in their spaces. If they have programs that you can join or you can volunteer in, right? That is what the next question talks about. What communities or networks do you need to join to access these people? 2016, Jimmy Terry organized a conference in Port Harcourt called the Free Conference. At the time, he was doing free conference all over the country. He has done in Abuja, done in Lagos, and all of that. And of course, Jimmy Terry, Bankole Williams, Steve Harris, they mostly work together. If Jimmy Terry is doing a program and he's going to have resource persons, many of the times, Bankole Williams and Steve Harris are among the resource persons and vice versa. And at the time, I had been following Bankole Williams and Steve Harris, not so much of Jimmy Terry. I got to find out about that. I volunteered for that program. Like I volunteered to be for organizing and everything. And the reason for that was because I wanted to get close to these guys. Because before the program, he would often have sessions with the volunteers where he would interface with us and all of that. And I just wanted to get close to these guys, get to learn from them. I volunteered for that. So these are communities. And I met quite some friends, some connections from that volunteering experience that have helped me over the years. So you want to ask yourself, these people that can help you facilitate this goal, are there communities or networks or programs that they are involved in, that they are organizing, that they are part of, or that
Somebody,
people
um,
in?
somebody's asking in the chat, how can we get access to these worksheets? That's your book. I don't know.
Okay. Joining for the first time, trying to key in Love Volumoloki. Welcome, Love. How can we have access to this worksheet? Can you type the link to the Telegram channel, Coach Phil?
Okay,
Uh,
let me get that.
just type the link to the Telegram channel, um, and I'll highlight that the worksheet is in our Telegram group.
I'm sending that
Everyone,
in
so
now.
if you're joining for the first time, you can go to the Telegram channel. Okay, let me just type that. So,
I've sent it. Have you seen it?
no, not yet. Why am I not seeing it here? Okay. So you see that on the screen. It's highlighted on the screen now. That's the link to join our Telegram channel. The worksheet is on the channel. You can download it for free from there. It's a very rich resource, very, very rich resource. All right. Like I said earlier, of course, we know that this 1 hour, 15 minutes will not be enough to go through all the sections. So I'm using this first section to guide us on the rationale that will help us in all the subsequent sections. But then again, if we feel or think that it would be nice to have this again to complete the worksheet together, then our next hangout, we can make it 3.0 of this research experience. I see quite a number of us are enjoying the session. So let's get back to this. All right. So Uncle Phil, okay, what computer networks do you need to join to access this paper? All right, that's the last of that. Let's go down there. There are some of the sections that have some different questions based on the peculiarities of those. So again, here, what new skills would you like to learn this new year? Why do you want to learn these skills? What will
Is
learning
it
these
just
skills?
skills? What if
No,
somebody
it's
wants a
not
new
just skills.
certification?
It's not just skills. Again, like I said, we have breached this. Now for the intellectual development, we are looking at skills. We are looking at your knowledge base. We are looking at, I'm not just now, we want to talk about skills. I'm not just talking about like tech skills, all those certifications. We're talking about, for example, communication skills, relationship skills. We're talking about your knowledge base again also. Are there books you want to read before the end of this year? Are there areas you want to focus on growth? So, for example, you want this year, I want to spend time learning more about fatherhood, right? So I want to learn more about fatherhood. So you can put that as okay, yeah, like you're saying, Google certification in education, beautiful. So not just certification courses now. I want to learn more about fatherhood. So I remember that I think it was 2017 or 2018. I wanted to read a lot around fatherhood and all of that. So I had quite a lot of books by Steve Farrar because he writes a lot around fatherhood and leadership relating to fatherhood, right? So I, for the first, I think 4 or 5 months of that year, I was reading mostly Steve Farrar books on fatherhood and all of that. Again, it was an area I felt I wanted to learn more about and be more knowledgeable and capable in that area. So when we talk about skills, we're not just talking about certification skills, we're talking about knowledge base. Maybe you just got into a new position and you want to learn all you can about that. It's all part of it. Maybe you started learning a programming language or you started learning a tech skill and you want to really spend some time learning about that. Maybe you have some courses you want to enroll in for that. Maybe you already have materials you want to study in that. Maybe you recently got into a romantic relationship and you want your relationship to be strong and healthy, and so you want to read and learn about more about healthy relationships, partnership, marriage, and all of that. So are there books you want to read in this area? Are there trainings you want to enroll in? Are there mentorships you want to enroll in? So all these are coming to intellectual development. It is the full holistic development of your intellect, your skills, your capacities. Again, this will feed into, or rather, um, the career. When we get to the career section, you will see that it fits into this case because some of the questions we ask in the career section help you to clarify skills that you need for your career growth. So by the time you get to your career section and clarify the skills you need for your career growth, you can then also duplicate some of those skills into here as part of your intellectual development. Because again, they are all interwoven. It's all the intricacies of your life and also all the certification courses, communication skills. So, for example, for me, one of the key areas I want to brush up on at the beginning of next year is communication, which was why I was glad that I came across this the guy I came across, Vin Giang. I came across his videos and all because there are quite a number of things I want to do from the beginning of next year that would involve a lot of teaching, trainings, facilitation, and all of that. So that's a very, very important skill for me. I want to brush up on for next year, right? So think about everything broadly. You don't limit yourself. Think about everything broadly. What new skills would you like to learn? Why do you want to learn these skills? Again, what will learning these skills do for you? Why the why question is important is because the why question gives you a foundation, gives purpose to your goal. It's not just a goal in a vacuum. And like I said, by the time you get to the career section of these worksheets, and clarify the skills you need for the path you want to go in your career, the things you want to do. You see the purpose is even stronger. So it's feeding into your intellectual development. So you know that the reason I want to learn this is because it's going to help my career in this way or that way. And that's beautiful. Right. So you can see what Coach Phil is writing. Mini MBA from Takedia, Google certification in education. All right, beautiful. So can we go down, Coach Phil? Can we go down? I know you're getting deep into this. Um, Now, for emotional life, and this section is really beautiful for me. This emotional life, social life, these two areas are really beautiful for me. Now, for emotional life, you said filling your emotional cup positively is key to helping you stay refreshed throughout the year. In this section, you want to intentionally create times for refreshing and creating fun, joy, and rest for your life. Create moments of adventure, exploration, laughter, connection with friends and nature, inspiration and love. Also, you want to learn and train your mind and emotions so you become more resilient as you pursue your other goals and you build on your vision. Now, what this section is going to do for us as we break down this, as we feel this for ourselves, is that it's going to help us to see um, while I'm pursuing my goals, I want to be able to have a time for refilling. During the first session of this series 2 weeks ago, we talked about the reason why we decided to do resets. It's because we have gotten so caught up with goals and all the things, all the demands on our time. And sometimes we don't realize we've gotten so exhausted that we've disconnected from our dreams, our visions, and goals, and we hardly have time for rest. And for a lot of us, when we start planning for the next year, in truth, I used to be like this. I'll plan for goals, 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 goals. I never had a plan for rest, for vacations, for everything. I never had a plan for those things. Felt like if you are planning for rest, it's like you're unserious with your life, right? People are planning for how to crush goals, crush goal, 5 years goals in 1 year, and you're planning for rest. But at the end of the day, you experience burnout and you find out you hardly are able to achieve even the goals you're trying to pursue. So it becomes expedient for us that while you plan for other things, plan for refreshing, for refreshing yourself, for revitalizing. Plan for having times that you take apart, to spend time and relax and rest and, evaluate, go for. I have a friend who, for the past 7 years, he goes for 3 vacations every year. And he's not going for 3 vacations every year just because he wants to meet on the fun of it. Of course, he uses that as an opportunity to travel, visit new countries and all of that. But he says he usually takes 1 or 2 weeks vacations every 4 months, according to him. And he says in those vacations, what he does is he he takes the first few days to just relax, not really not think about any work or anything, to just relax and enjoy this new place he has come to, this new experience, take pictures, visit new places, try new foods and all of that. And then after the first 2 3 days, he takes some time to evaluate, from the last time he did an evaluation, to evaluate what progress has he made, what needs to be improved, and all of that. And ask himself, what am I not getting right? What am I doing wrong? And what way am I not serving myself well? And all of that. What all that does is that he has a time to refresh and rest and relax, to refuel himself, outside of the demands of his workers, the demands of his family and everything, just him by himself. And then he uses that time to evaluate. It's like it gives it's like a fresh start in the middle of the year and all of that. So depending on how frequently you want to do that, that's why here we asked, how much time will you make for retreats or vacations this year? Do you want to make it quarterly, every 6 months, once a year? We just put these three here as standard. You can actually choose to do every month. I read of someone who the last 2 days of every month he's off all his platforms. He takes time alone, time out, the last 2 days of every month. And this is a very busy influencer. Can't remember his name now. Someone had told me that. I said he takes the last 2 days of every month. He takes it up. You won't see him on his Instagram platform anywhere at all whatsoever, and also not at work. He takes them to refresh before he gets into the new month. Whatever works for you, So, um, what's good for you writing here? I don't have love of my life. As you don't have love of your life, how much time will you make for your rest and fun weekly? So let's go down. Let's go down. Because again, in this section, you're going to explore what fun is for you. I think is in this section here. You'll explore what fun is for you, what kind of activities you want to engage in for fun. Um, can we go down, Coach Phil? Is it still there? How much time do we have left? All right, so let's go down. I want us to touch on the social, even if we don't do um others because time is always so. Scroll down to social. That's
Okay.
no, not love relationship. Scroll down to social because there's a very important
Parenting.
thing. Not parenting. After parenting, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
social life. Yeah, we'll use this to wrap up for today. And if we wish, if it's okay with us, we can do this for the next session and wrap it up there. If not, we can do this individual. But the reason I want us to do this before we end today is there's some very important things in this section I want us to pay attention to. It's the concept of feeders and needers. The first time I had this was from Bishop T.D. Jakes. He talked about people who feed us and people who need us. And I got thinking about it and I realized that oftentimes we experience burnout because we spend more time attending to the people who need us and very little time attending to people who feed us. So, what's the concept of feeders and leaders? Feeders are the people who depend on us in one way or the other, whether it's financially, emotionally, morally, people who our interaction with them takes from us, those who are looking up to us, those you're mentoring, those you're teaching, those you're helping, those you're training in school, whatever it is, people who think of yourself as a river, and that's the explanation we give. It's like you are a life river, right? The needers rather are the people are like the tributaries to your river. You know how a river flows into lakes and streams and all of that. So the needers are those lakes and streams that you flow into, and the feeders are like the mighty oceans that pour into you, right? Imagine that there was a disconnect from the ocean that feeds into a river, but that river still is flowing into some lakes and streams. What do you think will happen? Eventually, at some point, that river will run dry because where it draws its source
Yeah.
from has been disconnected, but it's still giving away. Right. So the concept of feeders and leaders is the fact that in life there would always, at every level, wherever we find ourselves, would always, especially if you're intentional, you would always have feeders, people that inspire you, people that you look up to, people that you learn from, people that groom you, people on whose shoulders you lean on. And you'd always have leaders, people who are reaching out to you for help constantly, people who you're mentoring, the community you're serving, the community you're grooming and growing, and all of that. Just if you read through this, you would understand that. Now, for some of us, if we take a stock, if you scroll down a bit, Coach Phil, if you take a stock of the last year or two or three, you may discover that most of your time has been spent attending to the needers. So you've gotten to a point where you're feeling more drained because you're constantly giving and you're making little time to receiving, to refreshing, to revitalizing yourself. Right. And we know the common saying, they say, the top people you spend your time with a reflection of who you are and all of that. While that might not be an absolute truth, there's sense in the fact that the people who you feed from or who you spend a lot of time on is going to affect your mindset, it's going to affect your beliefs, it's going to affect your approach to life. And also, you want to take stock for this section. We say, think of the 5 people you spend the most time with this thing. Now, this could be people you physically spend time with, or people you regularly listen to or sat under their tutelage. You take time to write their names down, right? And the five persons you spend the most time with often have deep influence. Now, in line with the life you are trying to create this new year, I want you to think about five persons that you want in your space. What this is going to do is you'll notice that as much as we explained feeders and leaders in this section, there's no question here asking
When you
yourself.
say the space, when you say the five person you want to know, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, I got in. When you say the five persons you want in your space, must it be physical people? It can include your
No,
social media
no,
spaces and the rest of them.
no. That's what I'm trying to clarify now. It doesn't have to be physical. Now, the five person you want in your space, this is in line with the values you wrote at the beginning and the goals you're trying to pursue. Remember that for each of the sections, we always asked is there a mentor, coach, or role model that can help you facilitate this process. Now, by the time you go through all of this, you could find out and say, okay, as it has to do with building my social space now, right? I want to think about five people. Now, these people could be from all those different sections who are mentors, role models, influencers, and all of that. It could also include people you didn't list in those areas, but who have values, skills, capacities in line or in affiliation with where you're going that you would want to come into your space so that they also help you build momentum. So what I mean is, let me give an example. Let's say this coming year, I want to improve my public speaking, communication, and all of that. So I'm looking at Fusit Mbekwa as a role model. I'm looking at Vengyang as a role model. I'm looking at Simon Sinek as a role model. Now, these are people that I already have in my space. I listen to them regularly. But let's assume I've never, I've not listened to them up until this point, and now I want to get them in my space. In this place, I can include them, the three of them, right? Now, in addition to the three of them, why I'm saying this is because this place is not limited to just those role models now. Maybe I have someone, a friend or an acquaintance, or someone that's is a friend of an acquaintance that may be my contemporary, but I know is in this line and they are doing great or they are intentionally going on that path. And I want to bring them into my space so that having them in my space helps me also to build momentum. So maybe an example of that person could be Coach Phil with all the things that he's doing. He's not the role model I said I'm looking at, remember, but he's also someone who is in the space of what I'm trying to do. And I see that having him in my space can also inspire me on an ongoing basis to keep being on that path. I can also include him in this place, right? So this place is not limited to the role models and influencers, but the role models and influencers are a good marker for who and who you can. So it doesn't have to be physical people you have physically in your space, right? Influencers, role models, friends, acquaintances, people who you are trying to bring them into your space for the sake of ensuring that the momentum you're building towards the life and the dream or vision you're building does not stall. Again, this is about creating the environment that enables the seed of your goals, your visions, your dreams to sprout. So, this is creating an environment that gives you more and more feeders in your space. You'll notice that even though we defined feeders and leaders in this section, we didn't ask you any question relating to the leaders because we know by default, as a person of value, you will have leaders. They will come. You don't need to make a goal or plan for them. People that need you will come. People that want to draw from you will come. You don't need to make a goal for them, but you need to make an intentional goal for the people that you need to help you grow and improve. That one, you need to be intentional about it. If not, you get drained and you just keep pouring from an old well. And at some point, you get drained, you feel frustrated, right? So that's one of the reasons why I wanted us to touch on this section before we close for today, because I think our time is up for today. Um, and like I said, yeah, love says it's real reset package. Yeah, it is indeed a real reset package. Um, I knew before the beginning of this session that I won't be able to. I mean, it's a 25-page document. Coach Phil, Mr. Juban, Mr. Believe will know it took over 2 weeks to come up with these documents. Again, because it wasn't just randomly assembled questions. So we gave deep thought to this and all. So we knew the impact it was going to have, and we had to make sure that it was something that would give you value and help you clarify things for yourself. And you notice that as much as it's goals, it seems like a goal setting. This is not just goal setting. That's why we didn't call it a goal setting worksheet. It's a reset worksheet. It looks like goal setting, but it's helping you also to reset yourself in these different areas. Like here, you're not just trying to set goals for making new friends, and oh no, you're saying, okay, I want to pay attention to my feeders and my leaders and make sure that I build more feeders. You want to carefully and very deliberately culture your environment, culture your atmosphere, culture your space, so that you're keeping a healthy atmosphere and environment for the seeds of your dreams, your visions, your goals. And as we go through the worksheets on our own, outside of this session, as we go through the worksheets, you find out that there are more for each of the sections. There are really, really more pressing questions that help you to sit down, think, process, and clarify things for yourself in each of these sections. We have a section for parenting, for love, relationship, for career, for finances. And I think that by the time we do an updated version of this worksheet, the section of finances is even going to have more activities or questions under it, because there are some things that we didn't include in this version yet because we didn't want to have to stall on this. But that is it for today. Like I asked earlier, thank you so much, Otibe. You said a big thank you to the Experience Shape team for this session. Thank you so much. Now, like I said earlier, if we would want us to do to finish the other sections together in a hangout session like this, let's indicate on the chat and let me see if it's something that we all want, and then we can consider that. The team we can consider that and use that to wrap up the year. But if not, you can go to the Telegram community. The link is on the screen right now, t.me/shape community, where the worksheet is. You can download the worksheet and you will be able to use that to, go through these sessions for yourself. One thing I know I can tell us for now is that we are considering and working on having more practical workshop sessions like this for next year. I don't know the frequency of it. The team has not decided yet. We're still working on that. But we want to ensure that for next year, every month is going to have like practical sessions like this for us as much as we can. We're trying to see how we can do that so that every month we're going to have hands-on sessions like this. Not just, of course, we are doing reset now because this is the end of the year, so that you can plan 2023 before it comes. But for next year, we're going to have workshop sessions in different other areas. We're going to have workshop sessions in skills for productivity, for example. We're going to have workshop sessions in all the different areas. And again, these are all in alignment with our overarching goal as an organization. Experience Shape, again, for those of us who are joining us for the first time, is a platform where you can leverage self-coaching, self-therapy, self-agency to use our platform, enroll into our program. We call it the Shape Your Happiest and Most Productive Life. It's a program where you can unpack the patterns, behavioral patterns that hold a lot of people back from expressing their full and authentic self. Some of the lies that our minds tell us that hold us back from reaching out to the best versions of ourselves. If you're joining us for the first time, if you go to our website, experienceship.com, you can sign up for a 7-day free trial of our SHIP program, where you have daily short activity prompts that give you sessions, reflection sessions, meditation sessions, and short activities that you engage on a daily basis to help you shift and reshape your mindset from a mindset that is focused on challenges, limitations, and judgment, self-judgment, to a mindset that leverages on love, power, the sage mindset to liberate yourself from the shackles of self-limitation. Right. So if you're joining us for the first time, if you have joined the Telegram community, you'll find the link for all of that, but we'll still reshare that at the end of today's session on the Telegram group for those joining for the first time. So you could sign up for the free trial, experience the SHAPE program for 7 days at no cost, no credit cards asked, nothing at all. Experience it for yourself, and then you can decide if you want to sign up for the full program. But I assure you, if you follow that 7 day free trial with the commitment it deserves and it requires, you would want to sign up for the full program. So it's good to have us all in this space. I don't know if there's something I'm forgetting. Could feel Mr. Jubo, Mr. Believe. Is there something I'm forgetting?
Are we deciding that we are going on with Research 3.0?
Okay. So that question is directed to everyone, please. Do we want us to complete the remaining sections of this research in another section, so that we can already log that down and plan for that for our next session? So wait on us for that. But while we're waiting for that, Love is asking, what is the difference between feeder and leader? The context differs. It depends. The concept of the feeder versus the leader in this session is the fact that the leaders are the people, just like the people who need you, right? And when we talk about needing here is that the dynamics of your interaction with them takes from you more often than it gives you. So think about it as like a mentor, a coach who's pouring to people, right? So proteges, in the context of that, the proteges need the mentor or the coach. So he's pouring to them, he's giving to them, he is feeding them. So in that context, he is their feeder, they are his leaders, right? The leaders are those who, one way or the other, there's a resource going from you to them. And if all your time is spent only on leaders, it means you're spending all your time giving away without having time to replenish, to refresh, right? And so the concept, the idea of the section we did here is to help you more intentionally and deliberately plan to bring more people into your space and make more time in your planning for the people who inspire you, people who refuel you, people who revitalize you, people who you can feed from and renew your own cup, your own life river. So that's the concept of it. All right, thank you, everyone. So Grandma Lanye said yes, we should do this. Utibe said we should do this. John says I'll definitely have to come back to watch the replay. It's power packed. Thanks for putting up this. Thank you so much, John. And also for every one of us who is here, if you have friends, family, colleagues that you know need this, please share this with them. Share this with them. Share the YouTube channel with them, share this video with them, let them come in and watch this video and plan adequately for their 2023, for their life generally. The beautiful thing about this manual is that you can use it to plan for next year, you can use it to plan for long term. Just replace the short-term questions with long-term questions, but it's a worksheet that gives you a framework that can help you not just set goals, but also to reset your motivations, your why, your mindset for each of those sections and help you to get the best out of those sections of your life. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Chiamaka. It's good to have us here today. And I think we'll be ending today's session here because we've overshot our time. And I want to appreciate every one of us who showed up today. Love Olumola, Grandma Lanye, Utsibe David, John Hope, Chiamaka, Adeyinka Kinyemi. Who else joined us? Yeah, these are people who joined us. Thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having us. And I want to thank the entire team. Thank you so much, Mr. Jubo. Thank you, Coach Phil, for sharing the studio with me today. Get ready to share it again next time with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thank you also, Mr. Believe, for being here with us. Thank you, everyone. We will be ending the broadcast here. Do have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and have an amazing 2023 already. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.